back to the podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Mark.
So we're episode 31 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So we fishing next week?
I'll be fishing somewhere this coming week, Paul.
This coming week.
Yeah. Today's Sunday, first day of the week. So this week I'll be headed to the lake tomorrow morning. I probably won't get there until about noon or so. But I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting the ice. If it's not out right now, it'll be out on our little lake anyway. Maybe a few more days for the bigger lakes.
I'll be up there Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah.
Tuesday night.
You'll know anyway. I'll certainly let you know what's going on with the water, with the lake. But
Tuesday night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm invited, or I just invited myself?
It's always an open door, always an open invitation, Paul. Anytime you want to come up, for sure.
I got a GoPro you can take too.
Yeah, I'll have my camera.
But you never use it.
Well, not as often as I should, probably, but I'll try to use it a little more this year.
All right.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. Promises.
It's hard because when you have a camera, you say, okay, I'm going to record more stuff. Then you get into the
Well, that's exactly what happens.
Stuff.
That's exactly what happens with
and
me.
You don't feel like pulling it out.
Get caught up with the fishing and hunting, and I've heard a few other guys that do podcasts, and their comrades always tell them they need to do more video, recording or whatever, and they're always saying the same thing. They get caught up in the hunting, and
I mean, I do the same thing with like when I'm working on the canoe.
Yeah,
I kind of get in the zone, and I don't want to do anything else, and just focus on what I'm doing.
You could see where some of these people they must be always setting up and moving cameras.
Oh yeah, I can,
because it shows them walking by, and then so they had to set it up and then walk back and then go by it and then go back and get it, and all that stuff. And I don't know if I would have the patience to do that. And,
I mean, sometimes it's fun if you kind of get an idea and you want to try it.
Yeah, and they're in a vehicle and they drive by, so. They just didn't leave the camera there, obviously. They stop the truck and go back and get it. And so, I don't know if I want to go.
It's fun on a Sunday or something when you're out hunting and have nothing to do, or you get some downtime. Yeah. But if you're in a hurry or...
Yeah. It can interfere with the activity.
Sure can.
Yeah. It can interfere with the activity. You have to have the mindset that you have, that it's probably an equal part of recording and hunting or fishing.
Well, it kind of adds something to my hunt, because sometimes I don't, like, there's a few weeks at deer camps in the past where I'd gone like 2 or 3 days without even doing really anything. Right. Because I just didn't feel like it. Yeah. And then you kind of get in, I don't know, you get an idea, or you get in the mood. It's kind of like anything. If you're making something, I find myself going through, like if I was building a fly rod or something, I might have a couple days where I spend a lot of time on it, and I kind of put it down for a few days, and then you kind of get the itch again and do it again. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, I got
Social
one
media.
other thing that I want to remind you to apply for your moose permit.
Yes,
so, I don't know when the cutoff date. I know it started the 1st of April, and I don't know when they stopped taking applications, but you don't have a very big window. So
no, I'll probably, Lacey didn't want me to put in for her, but I'll probably put in for her as well.
Yeah, and the drawing this year is, I believe it's in Fort Kent.
Oh, is it whereabouts?
Yeah.
Where in particular?
I am assuming, Paul, that it's going to be right at, and I forget the name of the sporting goods store in Fort Kent, right on East Maine, but it's maybe it's West Maine, just starting West Maine. Anyway, it's right in the middle of Fort Kent, and this I'm assuming that it's at the right by Quigley's Hardware, or I guess it's SW Collins now, where Quigley's used to be.
Okay.
They have a sporting goods store there, Up North Sporting Goods or something like that.
We need one around here.
Well, we're not a big moose town, and
I mean, you can't get anything now.
Yeah.
As far as I mean, you can get guns and ammo.
Yeah.
But
you're right. We do need one. Yeah, so if you're
If
going
you need
and you
flies
need
or
leaders or you're right. We don't
gear
have one
like that,
around
ice
here.
fishing gear. Just
Yeah. There's no
need-
sporting goods store here.
you got to order it, and man, if you forget or you are in a pinch,
I miss Ben's, and
you're gonna have to be.
I probably, some of that's of my own making. I probably didn't go there as often as I should have, to support them.
So I want to talk about social media.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because I'm not on a lot of social media platforms, but I don't want to say it can wreck hunting and fishing, but it can. There's good with it, but there's bad as well.
Yeah.
So do YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
A little bit of Instagram, but I'm not on Facebook and stuff like that. Even Instagram.
Twitter, is that a social media?
Well, it's X now.
X, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not on any of it other than I watch a pile of YouTube hunting and fishing.
You're on YouTube.
Well, yeah. Thanks to you. But as far as putting myself out there, I'm not on anything Facebook or X or any of that stuff. And so I have visited. My wife is on Facebook, and I have gone through it, her Facebook, and somebody said something to the effect that you want the ability to read somebody's mind, get on Facebook.
Yeah,
you can read their minds.
Yeah,
it's all out there. Whatever they're thinking is right there. Not for me.
No.
So,
I mean, we'll go over the good with social media. Because since doing YouTube, I've thought a lot about the impact that social media has on these activities and stuff, and I try to minimize that negative impact. And we'll get into that in a minute. Some of the good things when I was thinking about this, the good things is probably the biggest for me is it's like a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And more so like YouTube, because I just enjoy doing it.
I enjoy watching it, Paul. I'll tell you, we watch zero network TV, but I do love to. I do have a lot of channels I subscribe to.
Yeah,
and I like them, and most of them. I mean, and that's the good thing. If you don't, you can always find the ones you can pick and choose and take the ones you like and shelf the ones you don't.
Yeah.
So
I got to be honest about my YouTube consumption. I don't watch a lot of.
You don't have time.
Well, no, I don't watch a lot of outdoor stuff.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a couple reasons why. One is I usually just use YouTube for like information stuff.
Oh, I use it a lot for that.
Yeah. And I love documentaries.
Yeah.
I love history.
Yeah, and I like that learning. Too.
And usually that's kind of my way to kind of check out. I love World War II history.
Yeah.
That's really I really like that. And there's a historian that I watch that has it's nothing fancy. It's usually just a topic on World War II with a bunch of old photos and videos and stuff. But I really like that. I don't watch much for outdoor stuff anymore, mostly because when I make a video, I want it to be authentic. Like you can kind of get into this path of like
following somebody or doing what somebody else
copying what and I kind of want to take from other genres.
Yeah.
And then you can start comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Like they're better than me or maybe they're worse than me. You can start getting into that.
And that's a natural thing to do in anything, Paul. I don't care whether you're playing a sport or whatever. But you're always observing and assessing and judging.
Because I view YouTube differently now than I used to. Because I'm thinking about like audio and editing and stuff like that the whole time. And so I try to shelter myself from that. So I'm just not, I want other influences on it outside of stuff like that. But anyway, just social media in general, it can foster connections. You meet a lot of people that you don't typically, or you wouldn't have met otherwise, or stay in contact with people.
Yeah. And that's the way it is with a lot of things, Paul. It can, there's a lot of good that can come out of a lot of things, like you say, social media. But boy, the negative seems to really, sometimes override the positive. And and
well, I didn't want to get too negative. I wanted to start with some positives. And because I guess,
I guess there's a reason that I avoid it. So like I say, and I avoid it like the plague.
Well, so prior to YouTube, I wouldn't do any of it.
Right.
I was totally 100% like, I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Right.
But the other good thing is if you own a business or something like that, it's great marketing.
Yeah.
You can reach so many people now without having deep pockets.
Yeah.
Like years ago, if you were going to do, try to reach the masses by some sort of
commercial
video or radio or something like that, it was expensive.
Yeah.
And resources were limited.
Yeah.
I mean, now anyone can do it. And for relatively pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
But so there are positives. But
for sure. Like I say, I consume a lot of YouTube. So,
but I'll just get to the big kicker for me right off the bat is when it comes to social media, and it's something I've become more aware of. I guess I think about it more before I'm cognizant before I post something, is a lot of things aren't reality, and it can create this false sense of reality really easy. And I feel bad for especially like new hunters,
right,
or new fishermen that maybe, or someone who's having a bad day or maybe a bad season deer hunting, and you see like everyone's posting pictures and stuff of big deer being shot, and it's really easy, or catching a lot of fish, or they're ice fishing and doing really well. It's easy to get into this mindset of like, man, why am I not shooting deer, or why am I not? And man, it can really get to you.
So they've always said that, even on TV shows, Paul, and they'll say that, when you watch a hunting show or a fishing show, it may be 15 minutes, half an hour long, and but that may take days or weeks to. You don't see that. You didn't see all the hours that they didn't have any success, or you get the highlights.
Yeah,
you get the good stuff, and
it creates a false sense of reality, especially like a young hunter who's seeing like someone shooting like big buck after big buck after big buck, and
what's wrong with me, and what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, or someone shoots a small deer, and it can really So one thing that I really don't like, I don't like posting pictures of that stuff. I do, but I'm pretty hesitant and will hold off because I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Because there is so much time where you're not successful.
Yeah, like 2 years for me deer hunting.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much time.
I put in, I told you, 22 days this year. And I don't know how, probably close to that in 2022.
Yeah.
So,
anyone who hunts and fishes has had days where they've gotten skunked.
Oh, yeah.
They've missed deer. Yeah. And anyone who says they've never missed a deer, or has never been skunked, they always catch fish. They're either lying or they don't do it. Because everybody's, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Whether it's deer hunting or fishing, it just, that's the way it goes. And that's easily overlooked on social media when you're, say first week of deer season, you're seeing, oh, God, that's a big buck. Oh, that's a big buck. They shot one. And it can be very discouraging.
There's one instance I can think of, Paul. There's a lake I fish, and it's known for big fish. And I've had some good days on it. But I'll bet you if you looked at the days that I didn't catch fish, they outnumber the days that I did. And so you're talking about a lot of hours in the boat without catching a fish.
Yeah.
With and I still go back because the opportunity to catch a really nice fish is there. So, But there's, like I say, there's more days that I've come home without catching a fish on this lake than having success. So,
and yeah, there's other great things that happen when you're fishing or hunting. You don't have to be
successful, no.
Successful. And I think that can be something lost in some of this stuff, where you kind of get this idea where if it's a video or a hunting video or something like that, it just has to be of someone shooting a deer or catching fish. And I'll be honest, some of my favorite videos, like my favorite video from this past that we did from this past fall was the one where your boots were full of water.
I knew you were going to say that.
And so I like the near miss, like the near hits.
Well, we worked hard.
And the close.
Yeah.
Because I think it paints a more realistic picture of, like, we were right there.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. But I think it's more relatable.
Yeah.
That stuff. I have a way easier time.
Yeah.
Like putting that out there than the deer being shot or the fish being caught, because a lot of time in between those scenarios.
Yeah, we jumped that deer a number of times, Paul, and we worked hard.
Yeah, that was hands down my favorite.
Yeah,
there was a lot going on that day.
Yeah, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I took my wool gloves and I wrung them out, and I was smart enough to take 2 pair. Well, the second pair was in a few hours, where they were soaked too, and
and that was probably my favorite day in the woods.
Yeah.
Was that day. Conditions were great.
Yeah.
We had
tracking
sticky
conditions.
snow.
Wet snow.
Foggy.
Yeah.
It was
a lot of water dripping off the trees.
Yeah, it keeps your sound down.
Yeah.
There's something about those days.
Yeah. It was a killing day.
Yeah, anyone who spent any amount of time out in the deer woods, you kind of know those days.
Oh, it was a killing day. That foggy, dark, and wet. And it was a killing day.
It's almost like that fog puts them at ease.
Yeah. It was dark.
Yeah, you tend to be able to get a lot closer. And we did. We were with them all day. Those are by far my favorite videos.
Yeah.
Not the ones really where we're catching a bunch of fish or shooting deer. So it brings you back to this, but like, what's reality? So another thing that had popped up past week is I took a Photoshop course. And it was kind of an eye-opener, because that things can be Photoshopped.
Yeah.
But as I really was taking this Photoshop course just to kind of get the basics of Photoshop. I want to know more about it. I like learning stuff. And essentially, Photoshop is actually the very concept of it's simple. You're basically painting with pixels. But you can do so much. Well, as I started kind of getting deeper into it, and I was kind of going down some rabbit holes, you can create an entire photo by adding stuff, taking stuff away. You can transform it into something that is 100%
fake.
You weren't there.
Yeah.
And you can create these photos. They look 100%. It looks like a real photo.
Yeah.
And throw in a cabin, a stream, mountains, a sky, animals. And if you know how to do it good enough.
Virtual reality, is that what they call that?
Well, it uses a lot of AI now.
Yeah.
Like you can use artificial intelligence to tweak this stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, like, holy smokes, well, like, when is photography no longer photography at this point?
When is reality no longer reality?
And so you can, put this on social media and make it look like you went and did whatever.
Yeah.
And it's totally bogus.
Yeah.
It creates a false sense of,
and
even in editing a video, you can put things, you can create a narrative that isn't real.
Right.
And you see guys that are probably like mediocre hunters or average hunters that are famous, and it's because of the branding,
right,
and the image that gets put out there, but it's not reality.
Most people are trying, and that's human nature, trying to portray yourself in the most positive light and stuff. And You know, it's a good thing to be able to say, you know what, I'm not all that good. You know, I'm just an average. I don't have anything to prove or.
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants to be good.
Yeah.
What they do, they want to, want to be better.
Yeah.
For me, and this is my opinion, but like to be an expert on something, it takes a lot to become an expert in a field.
10,000 hours.
Well, that can be the kind of the benchmark starting rule.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a hobby.
Yeah.
Or something it's something that you dedicate.
Yeah. You have to
your
have
life to
passion for it
to become an expert in something, like a true expert.
Yeah.
Whether, scientists or people that are really.
We're playing in the Masters.
Really experts.
Yeah.
They're not doing it as a side gig.
No.
On the weekends and at night and stuff. It's a full-time commitment.
Yeah.
To really become that well versed in whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe a lot of them aren't claiming to be experts, and they kind of get that accolade from
other people,
others watching them.
Yeah.
But I 100% and by no means an expert hunter or fisherman.
No,
it's a hobby,
and I enjoy it,
and find a little bit of success every now and then.
Yeah,
and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's a good way to balance your life out.
Yeah, and you and these some of these people wouldn't admit it, but when they start getting the recognition from their peers or from people around them, you can see the extra pressure on them to be successful.
Oh yeah,
there's pressure on them to be successful in that, whether they're a deer hunter or fisherman or whatever. And like I said,
no, because personally, I want to be real. About things, and I think that feeds a certain number of people, because let's face it, we all have our faults, and we all have things, we all mess up. Yeah. And if you kind of see someone else do it, or someone else, I don't want to say like misery loves company, but like, it's a
makes
little
them relatable.
It's a little bit, okay, I'm not the only one that's
right. It makes them relatable.
Missed a deer or been skunked fishing or fell down when I was tracking.
You've got me falling down a few times on camera. Well, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I fell down, so.
Stuff happens. No one's perfect.
Right. Yeah. And I got back up.
Yeah.
So.
And so Lacey, my wife, she says all the time too, because she's big into Instagram. And I'm not a huge Instagram. I'll post stuff here and there. I'm more like just good photos and keep it simple. And but Lacey, she'll be sending me reels all the time. And, it's like, I mean, that's how I ended up building the chicken coop that we have. She sees something on Instagram. And so I told her, you got chickens. You tell me the chicken coop you want and I'll build it. Well, holy smokes. She sends me the chicken coop and I'm like, that's like a stinking house.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a very nice chicken coop, Paul.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, if that's what you want,
that's what you're going to get.
So, I don't know, 4 weeks of building and $2,000 later, get your chicken coop. I'm like, I'm going to go live in it.
Voila. Yeah.
Oh, my word. Yeah. But anyway, it can be so I'll get these a lot. And I'm like, Lacey, I'm not a professional builder. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And, but she'll say, you see a lot of this stuff and she follows a lot of female accounts. I have a lot of kids and they're doing stuff. And their house always looks
immaculate,
nice and in order.
Yeah.
And it creates, and I can see it in her. It'll create this, like, am I living up to the right standard? My house doesn't always look. I've got piles of laundry here. I've got piles of laundry there. I got dishes in the sink. And it can get you kind of like, boys, I'm not performing up to that.
No, I'm not measuring up.
So we'll talk about it. Like, Lacey, you're looking at a framed video or photo. There's probably everything shoved off to the corner, just off the frame, and you can't see it. Like, there's a lot that you don't see. That's reality. Yeah. And there's usually more to the picture.
Yeah.
Than what's going on.
That's true in a lot of things in life. So
I when it comes to, especially during hunting and fishing, I'm always thinking about, that beginner that's out there, or maybe someone's having a bad season and they're seeing all these pictures, and it can really, you can get down on yourself.
Yeah.
It can be,
Maybe you wonder if you just don't have what it takes, and you're spending hundreds of hours doing it and not coming out with the results you would like or what you see everybody else having. And you can say, well, that's enough.
So one of the big, another thing that kind of comes to mind is you hear a lot of people talking about misinformation and stuff like that. And to be honest, to me, that shouldn't be that big of an issue, because people should be pretty well versed. I think it should be one of their goals as far as like being able to find out what's truthful and what's not.
Yeah.
Like that should be we shouldn't have someone censoring.
Right. No, you're absolutely
what
right.
We see,
because what is misinformation? Because we've gone through this here in the last 4 years, and what was called misinformation was actually the truth. And the truth was what they were calling the truth was misinformation. And that censorship should never play a part in that. And it has especially in big tech, social media.
Yeah.
And I would have a lot to say about that. And that we've been down that road, and it's had major implications into our society.
I've actually got a lot of thoughts on that, which I probably shouldn't share on here.
Yeah.
Because this really isn't the platform for that. But one thing that I'm well versed in because of my profession and how much time I've spent getting to that point is kind of seeking truth and figuring out what's true and what's not. I spend a lot of time reading scientific journals and scientific literature. And there's a learned skill with figuring out like what is true and what are the weaknesses that are presented in this paper. What are some things that are like, this isn't really making sense. I need to look into it more.
Yeah.
And I think anyone can learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And one of the very first things that I do is I always question authority on who's presenting me information.
Yeah.
Like why? So if someone tells me something, why does this person know what they know is truth, is a fact? Are they well versed in this field? Is this what they do for a living? Are they an authority on the matter? That's usually the first thing. Usually if they're not, if it's some obscure, you start to question right away.
Yeah.
One of the other things is just using your logic. Like, does this make sense in the reality that we know of nowadays? Like, so if we go back to some of the things you were referencing, I can remember reading scholarly articles and stuff and going, okay, this is making sense. And then things were coming up and they were saying like, this wasn't true or don't believe that. And I'm thinking, well, how can you say that? Because that's something we've always known to be true, the fundamentals of it. And I'm speaking vaguely, but the fundamentals of some things in this scenario have been well-established facts. And now you're telling me to ignore well-established fundamentals, and you're not giving me a reason why, but all of a sudden those fundamentals have changed. And it was a very frustrating a period of time for me, because I'm like, a lot of people that I thought were really smart individuals or really people who should be getting the right answers were missing it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, either they're not as smart as I thought they were, or it's almost being done on purpose. And one of the big things that I guess I could tell someone as far as seeking truth is that just because there's a consensus that's met, just because a lot of people agree on something, doesn't mean that what they agree upon is true.
Yeah.
There could be some other motive hidden within there.
Yeah, usually money, but
it usually is money.
But anyway, and along that line too, Paul, you know, they talk about, you know, we went through, and I don't, the science, you know, deal, and don't question it. Well, I'm not a scientist, but isn't science supposed to be questioned?
Oh, 100%.
I never understood that line of thinking where you didn't question anything. You weren't supposed to question the science and stuff. And
it's great to have debates on stuff, because it makes you question your train of thought and makes you refine your argument for whatever it is that the more you get questioned, the more you get challenged on something.
Right.
The more refined your argument gets on that. And people that are really good at debating and stuff, it's almost like when they're coming up with an argument, they're basically coming up with questions and challenges to whatever it is that their argument is.
Well, that's what a debate is.
But they do it beforehand. You know, they've got a really good understanding of all the weaknesses of their argument, where their strengths is, and where you know it could be broken down. And then you delve further into that and get more answers there. And social media can have a lot of people saying the wrong things, but I think we all need to take responsibility for being able to figure out, you know, just think about it to start. Does this make logical sense?
Right.
And then move forward on that. If it does, go deeper into it. Does this person have authority on the matter?
Yeah.
Multiple sources. So I never use one source with anything.
Right.
If I'm looking for information on something, usually start broad, and I'll start to narrow it down in a more and more precise information. And if you get more and more people from different kind of fields and different areas saying the same similar thing, you can start to be more certain that you're accurate on
right. And there again, we get back to if they don't want to be questioned on it, then I really start to question it.
Yeah, what do you have to hide?
What do you hide?
Yeah,
anyway?
like, I mean,
if you have to censor stuff, what are you hiding?
You know,
what are you worried? I mean, you know.
And for me, if someone questions me on something, and gosh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good thought. I need to think more about that. I need to look into it. And maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So well, there's a lot of bad info out there and stuff. I think that just needs to be, you know, I need to be good at
discerning, disseminating information, and discerning the truth. Yeah.
And no one's perfect. You know, sometimes you think something's accurate and you misspeak and say something wrong, but
and you find out you're wrong. You're right. Sometimes you find out you were just plain wrong.
Yeah. So another social media influence is gear.
Well, there again, that's money.
You know, you got people that have businesses and stuff. You know,
it's all about follow the money.
They want to get the gear out there. Then they get people, you know.
Yeah. That's our society, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to own this car and you got to own this house and you got to have this and that.
Yeah, it leaves people this fear of missing out.
Yeah.
They got to have the latest and greatest gear. And when it comes to hunting and fishing, I'm pretty good about, at this point in my life, I know what I like and I know what I want out of my hunting and fishing. And I know what I like to use. And I'm pretty boring in the fact that when I find something that works, I have a hard time, and that might be a fault.
Yeah.
I have a hard time deviating from what I know works and trying something new.
Right.
I just tend to be a skeptic. And
there
might be, you know, as we advance in time and stuff, there might be something better out there.
Yeah.
But
probably not.
Yeah. You got to invest money in that.
Yeah.
And I don't like spending money and being like, wow, that was a waste of money. With camera gear, on the other hand, has been a little bit of a...
Yeah, my goodness.
A little bit of Achilles heel for me.
Yeah.
I kind of like playing around with the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that I want the latest and greatest, but you kind of get an idea of doing something and, well, I'll try that out. And
well, certainly in that Paul, in that field, in photography and in video and stuff, the better tools you have, the better quality of product you're going to put out. So
there is.
Yeah.
I will say that knowing how to use it's important.
Yeah, it is.
Because you'll see guys that are really good and they'll do it like who are really good at just video in general.
Right.
And photography. And they will take say a $20,000 camera and give it to someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And then they'll use an iPhone.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or just a cheap couple $100 camera. And they can actually produce a much better video.
Yeah.
And it's just the other guy doesn't know how to use it the right way.
Yeah.
In the right hands, it can be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can. I have acquired a fair amount of camera gear the past year or so, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
I might slow her down a little bit. Other things social media wise, and I try to be careful of it. And it's not because I'm trying to be secretive. So I try not to name spots or give spots away, tell where I'm at.
Right.
And the biggest reason is a lot of these spots someone else told me about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to ruin it for that person.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's a spot that, I found that's really good, but that's someone else's honey hole too.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know that person, or maybe never seen him there, but I don't want to ruin it for them. Blasting.
Yeah. In your channel, that's not what it's about, telling people this is where you need to go and this is the way you need to do it. And
but some people will ask.
Yeah.
And I don't mind sharing it. I'll tell them to email me.
Yeah.
Or something like that if someone has a question. Even then, I try to keep it kind of on the down low.
Yeah.
It's more out of respect for other people. But yeah, social media can kind of, you can disseminate so much stuff to so many people.
Yeah.
You can give away some good spots.
Yeah.
When it comes to deer hunting, I don't think there's really any spots up here that are that great. I always go someplace and find.
No, I've had people that they want to come up and go hunting. I got a nephew, and I tell him right up. I said, man, I'll tell you straight up, it's a tough place to hunt.
It is.
Your chances of success, you come up for a few days or a week, the chances of you shooting a deer up here are not good.
No,
they're not good. But if you want to come up and hunt and
have a good time,
go up to the camp and enjoy ourselves, and absolutely. And
there's always a good time to be had.
Yeah. And, you've had lots of room to roam, and, it's a good place for that. We have a lot of territory open to us that,
the camp will be warm and
the camp will be warm and the food will be hot. And, you'll have a shower and, So
if your sole purpose is to
shoot a deer,
shoot a buck. Yeah. There are, a lot better places you can go and be successful.
Aroostook County is not the place to come. So,
although this fall might be different.
Yeah, it should be. Well, I got to believe that. So coming down from the camp, and I'm trying to think when we came down, I saw 6 deer coming down the other day.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. Yeah, all a doe with a fawn.
Yeah, so there was a doe going across the yard the other day. She had 2 fawns with her.
No kidding. That's
and that
good.
was all right, good. She's got 2.
These were all single fawns, be yearling now.
Yep.
With a doe. So I saw 6 of them.
Looked super healthy.
Yeah, they
were just hanging out on the lawn.
Yeah,
and
they never really had to yard.
No,
they didn't have to yard. They may have gone near the yard, but the deepest the snow got. Of course, we got the biggest storm in Fort Fairfield the end of March, 24 inches. But even then, it was gone in a few days, Paul.
Yeah, it was the snowpack was never enough to.
No. And that fell on bare ground. I mean, it didn't build up on anything. There was no snow when it fell, and that quickly melted. So, the easiest year, no cold temperatures, no snow. If you ever have an easier winter in northern Maine, well, I don't I don't know if I've ever seen one.
No.
So that's one of the ways, Paul, that they always have judged how severe a winter was, how much loss they had by the yearling kill the next fall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You get a lot of young bucks
when the tagging stations and stuff, when they have if they get a lot of yearlings, they can say, man, last winter was very, very easy. They get a lot of yearlings, which would, like you say, would make sense. They had a good survival rate and stuff. So,
well, I suspect this year then
should be a lot of yearling bucks running around.
Might be a good youth day for a lot of kids.
Yeah,
get out there and
and maybe a good year for an old man too that hasn't shot a deer in 2 years. There again, my expectations. I don't set them up. I'm not looking for a 4-finger track to. So
this fall, if it has any antlers at all, is it going to be?
It depends. You never know at the moment because I've passed them up before. You never know.
No.
If it was early in the year and I really love to hunt and I don't want to be done, I may pass it up. If it's the last week and I know it's coming to an end and I need some meat for the freezer, I may kill it. It all depends. And I may kill it the first day if I saw one. So,
It's like that for me. It's really circumstantial because, I mean, I've shot enough big deer.
Yeah.
But I don't need sometimes, I don't know, it's the right moment.
Yeah. It's good enough.
2 years ago, I mean, I could have shot a spike horn.
Yeah.
And I in my mind at that point in time, last day of the year too, I'd spent all day tracking that big buck.
Yeah.
And I had a shot at him and I should have connected.
Yeah.
And I just.
Yeah, you let it walk.
Didn't feel, I'm like, I worked too hard today.
Yeah.
But there's been other times where, and it was a spike horn not too long ago. He was walking right towards me.
Yeah, that was the last day of the season. So if you didn't shoot that one, you're probably going.
He got so close to me,
and
I wasn't going to shoot him at first. And all I thought was, I had this flash of Lydia,
the kids
sitting on him.
Yeah,
and he kept walking towards me, and I'm like, man, Lydia was just at that age where she would kind of know what. I think she was 3 or 4.
Yeah,
where she would know what's what.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I got to shoot it.
Yeah.
This will be more than worth it.
Yeah.
So it was a trophy for me that year.
Yeah.
Even though it was a spike horn.
Yeah.
That doesn't always have to be the biggest.
Well, not with me, Paul.
Biggest deer in the woods.
Not with me. So.
But I'm always looking for a big one.
Well, I certainly wouldn't complain about having one.
That's what you dream of. That's what you dream about when you're thinking of tracking a deer. You see that great big track.
Yeah.
How big the rack is and how big the body is. And that gets you excited.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always have to be.
No.
Anything else? I know social media isn't your thing.
No. Like I say, that beyond YouTube, I don't participate in anything in social media. I have no intention of doing it. And like I say, I have at least looked into Facebook through my wife's Facebook, and she doesn't spend a lot of time on it, and she's very careful about what goes out. But it's like, man, that's not for me, probably.
It's something I wanted to talk about because it's something I think about. Like, I try to be intentional when I post stuff because I don't want to create a false sense of reality for people. I don't want people, because you don't want to ruin someone's season.
Yeah.
And I think as a whole, if you just kind of look at kind of big picture, you only get the good stuff.
Yeah.
People aren't showing, them missing a deer or.
I probably go too far the other way. I probably am self-deprecating. Like I say, I'm not shy about saying I've gone 2 years without
that's that happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't bother me in the least. I don't think that.
And that's why I've always felt, and I've talked about it before, is the best deer hunters are the ones that you probably will never hear about.
No,
they're not the ones that are on the mainstream hunting and fishing shows. They're not on YouTube. They're not on there's some fantastic hunters that are just kind of doing their thing, and
right.
And you never know about them.
Yeah.
But I can really see where, you know, people could get on themselves.
Yeah.
Fall time or fishing or,
yeah.
You know, why am I not being successful? What am I doing wrong? What am I, and especially beginners.
Yeah.
You know,
and then they could do the same thing. Even if they start, you know, if they are successful, they can start
putting pressure on themselves
and posting numbers and, you know, and trying to keep up with the crowd and stuff. And, you know, that, like I say, you really you gotta just enjoy doing it. And,
well, know your why behind it.
Right.
Like why is it that
why in everything we do is important.
Are you trying to impress other people?
Yeah.
Or do you like, do you want to go out and have a good time? And if deer hunting if it was a pressure cooker, I don't want pressure on me to
takes away from the enjoyment of hunting and stuff. And
I don't want to have to perform.
No. To have to shoot a deer or to have to shoot a deer of a certain caliber or something. I don't have to do that.
No, and same thing with fishing. Because there's so many aspects to all of that that are so valuable.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this 1,000 times, but like say deer camp, my favorite part of deer camp is the trip up.
Yeah.
Hands down. Without a doubt, pulling the trigger on a deer is not my favorite part of deer camp.
And I tend to gravitate not deer hunting shows, but deer camp shows.
Yeah.
So Camp Benny and Joe and Zach's survival and stuff. I love the camp aspect of it. Yeah. The camaraderie, the people, the family, and I enjoy that more than the actual deer hunting.
Yeah.
So I oftentimes just went on YouTube, put deer camp, and I enjoy that aspect of deer hunting the most. The deer camp aspect of it.
It's relatable to more people.
Yeah.
Because there's everyone that hunts knows that you spend way more time with friends, good company, around the dinner table, playing cards, doing all that stuff than you do pulling the trigger on a deer. Yeah, all the videos that most try to, whether it's big hunting shows and stuff, it's all for the majority, pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not all.
But it's more fun to see them come back and tell the guys at camp and stuff. And then they all go out and get the buck or whatever. And or hunting hard all day and coming back to camp and sharing your experience. Everybody sharing their experiences the day.
Yeah, there's always good stories.
Yeah, that to me, that's the stuff that I enjoy watching.
So,
alrighty.
That's just about it.
Yep.
So social media, I love it and I hate it.
Yeah.
There's good and there's bad.
Yeah.
And I'm always torn sometimes between what to post and not making people feel a certain way.
Yeah.
You always got to think of that.
Yeah.
Try to be conscientious of.
Yeah. Try to keep it real.
Try to keep it real. Yeah. Yeah. Because I will never post a photo or anything like that. That is, that just wouldn't, I mean, I just couldn't do it. My conscience would, I don't want to create an image of something that isn't, because eventually you'll get found out.
Yeah.
If you're doing stuff and you're making it look a certain way, you can only fake it for so long.
Right.
You eventually are gonna get found out. And so you might as well just be honest.
Well, as long as I'm out there in front of you, Paul, you'll always be able to keep it real. You'll have somebody stumbling and falling and did I ever tell you not to put any of that stuff on YouTube?
No, you don't worry about it.
No, I don't worry about it. I never told you don't put me don't.
And I do the same thing. I try not to self-edit because it's very easy when you're watching this stuff going, oh, man, I sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
Or I look like an idiot. Or I don't like how but I still have to tell myself that that might resonate with somebody.
Right.
Like they might feel like they're an idiot doing something. And they watch me do the very same thing that I'm thinking I look like an idiot doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if that helped one person kind of put them at ease and be like, either you're not an idiot or, hey, we're idiots together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if anything, I probably self-edit kind of the wrong way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I tend to be self-deprecating. I have no problem telling people when I'm not successful and when I've worked hard, especially if I worked hard. There's no shame in working hard, and you know.
No. Alrighty.
Yep.
Well, hope that helps someone. Put them at ease about social media.
Yeah.
Ignore it during hunting season.
Yeah.
You'll be better off.
Yeah.
Just don't ignore YouTube altogether.
No, YouTube is, like I say, that's the one thing that I love. I love YouTube.
As long as you can separate yourself. Yeah. Know that.
Well, you get to choose. There's so many channels, Paul. You get to choose what the ones you want.
But I mean, when you're looking at it, just be cognizant that just because people are shooting big deer, this isn't everybody.
Yeah.
Or people are catching fish. It's not everybody.
Right.
There's people that are struggling maybe to fill their tag just like you are at that point in time.
Yeah.
And when you shoot one, then if you feel the need to put it on social media,
do
it. And if you don't. But just know that, there's still people, when big bucks are falling, there's still
people like myself that aren't
still people struggling.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good they are.
No.
So it happens to everybody. Yeah. So, all right. You going to camp? No, you're not going to camp tonight.
Tomorrow morning.
All right.
Yeah.
So hopefully this week we'll be on the water and
freezing our tails off.
Yeah,
because it'll be cold on the water middle of April.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, with the water being 35 degrees or whatever, it'll be bundle up.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Beats sitting at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beats work.
Yeah, for sure.
Any
bad day of fishing beats a good day of work any day.
Rather sit in a boat.
Yeah.
So, alrighty then. Well, until next time, get outside.
It's good for the soul.
See ya.